Hi everyone. Today we're going to be talking about what is a SLIFE student. So maybe you've heard that you're getting a SLIFE student and you're wondering what that is. So this is a quick video to go over some of the things that you might want to know about SLIFE students. So SLIFE stands for Students with Limited or Interrupted Education. So let's look at the definition that School District Anglophone West is using for a SLIFE student. So SLIFE are multilingual language learners, which we abbreviate as MLs, with at least 2 fewer years of formal education than their peers who are working 2 or more grade levels below curriculum expectations in literacy and numeracy, and who have limited academic skills in their home language. The needs of SLIFE differ from those of other MLLs in that while they're acquiring English proficiency, they must develop basic literacy and numeracy skills, build content area skills and knowledge, and adjust to the conditions of formal schooling. Many SLIFE have been so focused on meeting their immediate needs that they require support developing the abstract ways of thinking required for success in formal school settings. Now, what does that mean exactly? That's a lot of information, so I pulled a few details that are most important. So, first thing is that SLIFE are multilingual learners. However, their needs differ from those of other multilingual learners. So they are learning English in most cases, the same as the other multilingual learners who come to you but who are not SLIFE. They have the same needs as those students in terms of learning the language and needing support, learning the vocabulary and whatnot. However, they will have additional needs as they learn academic skills to um, to catch up to where their peers are academically. Which comes to the second point, they have limited academic skills in their home language. So SLIFE students, as the name indicates, they have interrupted education. So they may never have been to school, or they may have been to school off and on, but had that interrupted. So maybe they're coming from a place where school was not accessible to them. They come from, a rural area where school was too far away. Maybe they did not have the money for school fees. They may be coming from an area that has a conflict and schools were closed. Whatever the case may be, they have not been to school for the same time as the rest of their peers that they will be joining class with. So that means that their academic skills are lacking. Doesn't mean that their intelligence is lacking. And it doesn't mean that they are incapable because they have been living life and experiences throughout that time. And, they have high levels of resilience. They have a lot of abilities that will allow them to succeed and thrive. However, they will need some support in order to do that. So the third point is that SLIFE must acquire basic literacy, numeracy, academic skills, and content knowledge in addition to English proficiency. So oftentimes we would say someone is SLIFE because they don't have literacy in their first language. So they do not read their first language. They do not write their first language. And that means that they're not just learning to read and write in English, they're learning to read and write. And so that is something that they have to be taught. It will not take them as long as it would take a child learning to read and write, but they do need that extra support and help learning those skills in order to be successful academically. So if you're getting a student who is classified as SLIFE, what does that mean for you? Well, First off, SLIFE have very complex needs, so please reach out for support if you have EAL staff at your school, or reach out to an EAL lead so that we can support you with that. But some of the things that will be most helpful to SLIFE students are routines and task repetition. So doing the same thing every day will allow them um, to learn those skills just through experience. So opening your class in the same way every day, giving them a task to do that they can slowly grow in and become better at will allow them to learn those skills. Highly structured instructional practices are best for SLIFE students. So if you just ask them to take notes, well, that's not very structured. But if you give them a graphic organizer in order to take those notes, that's going to be more appropriate for them. And even more so if it leans away from the written practices. But that's something that a lead or an EAL professional can help you with. Cooperative learning is good for SLIFE students, and the note there says even when their personal learning goal is different. So a SLIFE student may not be doing the same things as another student. They might not be held accountable for the same learning that the rest of the class is being held accountable for. Okay, your content outcomes, for example. But that doesn't mean that they shouldn't participate in the learning experiences. That can still be very useful for them. Build positive connections. This is so important for success of SLIFE students. Just having an adult in the building who is friendly, who is smiling, who is welcoming to them, and who they feel cares about them is going to have an incredible impact on their success long term. Maintain rigor and high expectations. They do have to make up time. They've missed time in school and they need to work through things. And so if you don't assign them learning experiences in your classroom, then that's a waste of their time. And so maintaining rigor and high expectations is very important, although their expectations will be different. And the final point is professional collaboration is essential. It's really important that everyone work together in order to support the needs of SLIFE students so that they can catch up, they can learn the skills that they need, and they can be successful in their new country. So that's a very quick introduction to SLIFE students. Thank you very much for watching. If you have more questions, please reach out to an EAL lead, and we are very happy to work with you on that.